All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's live hangout session. My name is Yoon. If we're meeting for the first time, nice to meet you. I recently finished my 8 years in the military. Within that time, I was able to do several things. Number one, make 100K for in the stock market. Um, Second, make 250K in commissions with sales. And then lastly, start a business, and I was able to bring it up to a couple $1 million. And so, I'm out of the military now, and my mission now is to be able to create content and help people such as yourself that are looking at the military as a potential way to be able to financially succeed or financially get to wherever you want to get to. So if you have any questions, just always feel free to leave it in the comment section down below. If you are catching the replay, my plan is to continue doing some of these live Friday Q&A sessions almost every weekend. Some weekends we're going to be a little bit busier depending on my schedule, but I'm going to try to squeeze it in every Friday. So let's get things started. We'll see who shows up and what kind of questions there are. Hiram, what's going on, man? Currently finishing a garbage route. Think you're okay, Yoon? Well, appreciate you, man. Uh, the Diamond Dog, hello to the Goat Navy. Appreciate you guys popping in, Hiram, especially when you're working. How are your guys' Friday night? Appreciate you guys popping in. I half expected nobody to show up, but you know what? You guys are here. Hiram, the more tasks you can do for yourself without outside help, the more you will save. Ah, how do you mean? Did you work with the French Navy? No, I didn't work with the French Navy. Um, for a brief moment, I did see I think it's called Elizabeth, um, where the British Navy parked next to us. This was back in like 2018, I think. It was in Virginia. They parked next to us, and they were pretty cool. And we spent Thanksgiving together, basically, but never worked with the French Navy. Holly, what's going on? Appreciate you coming out. Yoon, why weren't you more consistent on YouTube when you started and were a Navy YouTube OG? So first, the reason why I wasn't consistent, looking back now, I kind of did the inner work to really understand. And a lot of the current YouTubers that are the OG YouTubers that are making the military content, you can tell that they are going through the same thing, which is a level of identity crisis. Um, at that time, I created right about 300 to 400 YouTube videos, all about military content, answering questions, and also talking about money, something that I wish I had when I joined. But along the way, I was like, man, this isn't fun. Like, I don't want to make this type of videos anymore. And you can kind of see that um, with the current military guys. They're feeling this too. The only difference is they're just consistently pushing through it. Whereas for me, if I don't like to do something, I'll just kind of like stop because my heart's not in it. And then I think I did that for about 2 3 years, and I grew really fast. And I started finding different interests like stock market investing, making money, entrepreneurship. Um, and then, yeah, later on, I was conflicted with different identities. Like, here I am. Does my YouTube audience want me the energetic YouTuber Yoon Kim, or do they want, or should I just be like the finance guy that's very analytical, talking about the stock market, talking about the 10K, 10Q conference calls, all that kind of stuff, or do I talk about business, or do I talk about my life? Do I become a vlogger? So it was a big identity crisis, but I was able to kind of figure out what I needed to do the last 3 years of my Navy time. Figured it out, and then obviously along the way, I also kind of got busy because started a business, worked as a remote sales professional, um, and then became part of a startup and scaled that to a couple $1 million. So yeah, I was pretty busy. But now that I'm out of the Navy, I don't have to obligate that time anymore over there. And with everything that I have learned, I'm coming back full swing as an influencer. So I'm dedicated. If you see, got my paper plaque button over there. So that's what's my reality going to be. Watched you when I first joined the Navy. You fell off the Navy YouTube. What happened? Yep. So that's exactly what happened. And a lot of people experience this too. You'll see it. in the YouTube world, they call it a burnout. In the military, you'll see it's the same thing. Whether it's you're in the military YouTube space or in just a civilian life space, um, in the military space, like you feel a burnout too. Like you start developing different identities that's not your own, because other people create that identity for you, and then you have an identity crisis. Everybody kind of goes through that phase. Did you enjoy your military career? Honestly, no, I wouldn't say I enjoyed my military career. Um, it, in the definition of enjoyment, if we go with the definition of enjoyment of like exciting in terms of like travel, like a lot of laughter, happiness, that wasn't the case too much for me. Some of them was because of the Navy, just environmentally, they didn't put me in a position for me to do that. A lot of it was by my choice because I chose to basically live dirt poor. Like if you see some of my older or my like YouTube videos from like 2 or 3 years ago, I'm in a room. Like I have like $100,000 in the bank, but I sleep on an air mattress, right? So like I chose to be very frugal with my money to be in a position where I am now, to be able to kind of like do whatever I want. Um, so I didn't enjoy my military career, honestly. A lot of it because of the Navy. I would say 70% because of the Navy. It's just that they don't have the right infrastructure and systems and operations and people in place to make it an enjoyable and a good career. 30% because of me, the choices that I made. Did you join the French Navy? Are you in the French Navy now? Makes sense. I had a YouTube channel in 2017, had a video go viral, and Slam wanted me to be an affiliate creator, but I went through a rough patch with mental health. Respect, glad you're back. Yeah, I've heard of Slam. I forgot who they were. Slam. Maybe not. Maybe I don't know. Nothing's popping up on YouTube. Yeah, mental health is. I've realized how big mental health is because a lot. That's what a lot of people in the military struggle with. Oh, basketball. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of basketball content. I think like Slam High School. Maybe that's who you're talking about. Um, but yeah, a lot of people from the military struggle with like mental health. Um, uh, from what I see, like I would say, like majority of the people just aren't able to overcome it, and they just kind of get stuck with an identity. I had an identity crisis. I solved it with fake navy, marine, purple, gray, white, and black woodland utilities, or sagalum, dress purple, as I call it. Me, I want to join the French Navy, brother. Broke his arm uh, in basic training for NCO. Not lucky. I don't tell anybody about what I want to do. Okay. Hopefully, you don't break your arm or anything like that when you join. Just so I can get some data for future content. The Diamond Dog, Holly, and Hiram. Curious to know what type of content do you guys feel like you guys want to see more of that I create? Mm, accountability. How do you mean by accountability? Because depending on your definition, man, accountability wise, if you actually follow, um, if you follow my Instagram handle is Mr. Yoon Kim. Actually, let me put in this website. Let me get the actual website. If you want accountability, that's super easy. Um, because that's my Instagram, and I literally document and share with you what I do on a daily basis. Um, the the thoughts that I have, the meetings that I have on a daily basis, like accountability wise, like you will see why I deserve the level of success that I have. Most people just say they want success and don't do anything about it. But like people can't say I don't deserve it because I literally show up, work out every single day, um, have a meeting with my team every single day, do business, go on masterminds, talk to 7-figure, 8-figure guys on a daily basis. Um, that's basically what you get to see. Along with that, um, my life behind the scenes. Military fire content. I think people these days like videos, redacted portfolios. Is military fire an actual movement? Because I know there's that fire movement, but this is the first time I'm hearing military fire movement. Get to see redacted portfolios and dividend portfolios, things like that. I'm not too big into investing as much anymore because investing takes a lot of time to go. Like I can, one of the things that I can probably do is share like exactly how to understand the company and like the process of investing. That's probably one thing that I'm pretty good at. Um, uh, and helping people understand how to structure their portfolio. Or, Holly, there's like a part of me that thinks about I should start a brand or maybe a brand new or maybe a series within my channel where all I do is just invest like $1,000 per month in my account and like similar to what you're saying, like show people from like ground zero why I'm investing into certain things and like building that portfolio up basically. Content concerning the responsible, effective. Wait, so hold on. Let me write some of the stuff down. Military fire. Yeah, I gotta actually see. Is military fire a thing? Reddit has the active military finance community. Okay. Interesting. I'm not too big part of Reddit, so I don't really know a whole lot about Reddit. Military fire movement. But okay, I will definitely create some stuff. Military fire movement. Content concerning the responsible, effective use of financial credit and loans would help a lot of people. Hiram, I would need a little bit more context on that because, like, to me, it's simple, right? And everybody understands this concept, right? Which is, if you don't have money, don't spend the money that you don't have. To me, it's simple, right? And I've just been practicing that for the last 10 years, or 8 years in the military. Like right now I have like 815 credit score, stuff like that. And so like to me it's like very clear, but I don't know what is not clear for people. um, I would do what you did in the beginning, make a lot of videos that many people need to see. One thing that I think people need to know more about is MHA's Genesis MEPS in the modern area. I don't know what MHS Genesis is. MEPS in the modern era. Like you mean the military entrance processing station? What was your specialty, Yoon? In the military, I was a supply guy. So um, when I was in the aircraft carrier, I was part of the aviation supply division for a while, where whenever the aircraft people need to replace parts, airplane parts, I would just track kind of where they are. Later on, I worked on the flight deck because there's what's called like a cod flight, where it's like a transport plane. They come in, and then there's got to be a luggage boy, right? That like takes everything out. I actually have GoPro footages of this. I'll probably upload it and do some commentary one day. Cod flight comes in. I'm the luggage boy, takes everything out, put it in the ship, and then when they leave, right, it's got to go back on the ship. That was my responsibility for a while. One of the highlights was like I was able to help the Top Gun crew, the Top Gun 2 film crew. This was in like 2018. Top Gun film crew came in, filmed for a brief moment. I think they just sell that footage. Really, I think they just took a lot of stock footage to put into like Top Gun, because I watched Top Gun, and they only literally like the first 2 seconds of the movie is from my ship, but they were there for like 5 days filming like nonstop. They probably have like 200 hours of footage, but they only literally put like 5 seconds in there. And then you can see like a little bobblehead in the very beginning. It's like a kind of shadowed out. That's where it was filmed. Reddit has an active military finance community. I agree that active investing is a pain. Yeah. I'm big in ETFs now, but a lot of E1s, E3s know nothing about personal finance. Yeah. Personal finance. Yeah. I think one of the directions that I'm thinking about going regarding personal finance is I only want to help people who actually have like a big goal that they want to accomplish. Like for example, there's so many people that just kind of want to make money, but they just want to make money for the sake of partying, which is not the right reason to have. And they're from my experience, they're never really focused on actually succeeding. I only want to help people who actually want to make money because they have a mission, they have a goal, they have a purpose with that money. What was your job, sir? Yeah, I was a supply guy. I was an LS, logistics specialist. Should have gone into nuclear engineer into Navy. David, you can. I know like a lot of people who were in the nuke. I forgot exactly what they were called, but it's like nuke people. From the people that I've talked to, it's not worth it. Even though you get like $100,000 in bonus, I mean after taxes you only see like a very small portion of that anyway, and that's also divvied up within your I think it's a 6-year contract, 2 years in school, 4 years on the ship. And I think you see the 100K at the 4 years on the ship. I think that's kind of how it works. Don't quote me on it, but then transition out with MBA. Do you have any plans for new businesses? Yeah, David. So regarding your nuke into MBA, so to me, it doesn't matter which vehicle you choose, David. Whether you choose nuke, whether you transition or not and go to MBA, it all sounds cool, but like what is it that you're trying to accomplish? right? So, for example, let's say all you're trying to do is make $100,000 so you can buy farmland. It's like, okay, like you don't need to be a nuke for that, right? You don't need an MBA for that. You can just either get a job or you can start your own business and do it. Why do you need that? So I would say, David, the better question is, it's like, what is it that you want to do, and how does being a nuke and how does having your MBA help you in that goal? Um, it's yeah, I'm not clear on what your purpose is. Do you have any plans for new business? Yeah, I'm going to be launching a business in September where I help ambitious people achieve their goal. Um, and yeah, I'm going to start coaching people who actually want to accomplish stuff and they need guidance. Anybody can do that. The Diamond Dog. Uh, for LS's supply guys, not everybody. So in the supply world, there are different supply people. There are ship supply people. So like think about like toilet paper, like desks, chairs, and stuff. That's a general supply people. And then there's like machine gear equipment supply people, people who handle what's called a repairable part all the time. And then there's the aviation supply people, people who basically work and deal with like supply material handling when it comes with like aircraft plane parts. Like think about like when you go to an airport and then the stewardess and stuff, they kind of like load your stuff, like kind of what I did. It's a dirty job, but um, so can anybody do that? Yes, anybody technically could, but no, because you gotta be within a certain section within the supply section. Uh, Genesis is a database. Oh, I did hear about Genesis. I heard that more from a supply standpoint, though, or maybe it was from a personnel, like personal data information. I don't know if it's only military applicant recruits specific, but I feel like I've heard it. Make sure they're not holding medical records. Withholding medical records. That reminds me, I should make sure. Pretty sure I have my dental and medical records. To double check. Cool. I thought the video you made warning about the guy that almost got in the fight drill instructor was both good and very informative about joining any gaming branch. Yeah, it's crazy how that video went pretty viral. And luckily, it was because I coattailed another guy, another YouTube creator who I think phased off. And it was probably like a recommended video. How many years did you study after you had 18 years old? The school system is very different in France. So I graduated high school when I was 19. And then I went to college for right about 2 years, 2.5 years. So I was 21 and a half when I decided to join the military. This was back in like November of 2014. Went to go talk to my recruiter, and I was like, all right, initially I wanted to try out for like the Navy SEALs and stuff. So I put in for what's called a physical screening test, PST, where um, I take the Navy physical fitness test, like the SEAL fitness test, because they have a different standard. In the end, I didn't make it because I sucked at swimming. And then I left in June 2015 when I basically turned 22. So now I'm 30 here 8 years later. It's crazy. Good stuff. Thanks for breakdown and thought process. Of course, David. Yeah, like David, if you don't know what you want to do, like what the main purpose is. I would try to figure that out first and kind of reverse engineer from there. Like for example, right now my goal is to make $1 million in 2024. Right? It's like shoot, I've never made $1 million. I've only made like $100,000. How do I make $1 million? I gotta reverse engineer. Okay, so every single month I gotta make at least like I think what 70K per month, or 80K, right about 80K per month. And then okay, how am I gonna make 80K? Well, I gotta charge people. I gotta buy a course and have Facebook groups and all that kind of stuff. So um, that's how I would start breaking it down, like even further. And people sometimes refer to it as SMART goals. When you use SMART goals, it does help. I tried it for my own business. I think MBA, in my view, was just for credentials, for networking and funding sometimes. My personal goal is 10 million before 35, puts you in the 1% population. Um, I think a million before 35 puts you in the 1% population. I think even $100,000 in your bank account puts you 1% in the population, to be honest with you, because I think I researched this one time. So like for David, just so you understand, right? Like an MBA, like the credentials, those are cool. Networking and stuff, it's cool, but credentials and networking to me is not the thing that's going to help you get to $10 million, because I actually talked about this in my Instagram story. This is why you guys need to follow my Instagram story. Because like if you think about football, in football, there's different like plays that you can do, right? It's a set authorized playbook, and you cannot do anything outside of this playbook in the game of football, because then you just can't. It's not authorized thing for you to do. In life, it's no different. This is just kind of my opinion, how I view things. Like a lot of the times, people will tell you, okay, so go to high school, go to college, get a job, and then maybe go for your MBA, do that for 5-10 years, and then start saving up your money, then buy a house, right? But like that process, which could be 10, 15, 20 years, like if you land a six-figure job, like $100,000, or maybe shoot $200,000 job paying job, which is a lot harder than $100,000 paying job, like you're gonna have to grind right for years for $100,000 a year job. And the thing is, if you want to make $10 million before 35, like actual $10 million, you can't run that playbook. There's something that you gotta do outside of that standard playbook to be able to get to 10 mil. Whether it's like, sure, you can get a six-figure paying job, but on top of that, you also have to either build a business or be very knowledgeable and take courses on real estate and get mentored and get coached from people who are very successful in real estate by paying them tens of thousands of dollars just to be able to pick at their brain. That's like the only way, from what I'm understanding. Because the traditional playbook of life, it's not designed to help you get $10 million or even $1 million. You wanted to go for seals. Yeah, in the beginning, because I saw some movies and YouTube videos, and I was like, you know what, that's pretty cool. But then quickly realized it's not for me. The ultimate goal to be 30 mil, to be UHNWI, and don't think you ever need more money than that, and create generational wealth. Yeah, Dave Ramsey is good. Dave Ramsey is good. I understand why he says certain things. In the beginning, I was kind of opposed to his philosophies, but I understand now. Thoughts on VA loan? Jackson, it depends, man. What are you trying to do? I never used the VA loan to buy this house. I just gave my parents $100K in cash. My understanding was via business. So MBA. So David, the I may be wrong in my way of thinking, but from my current understanding, an MBA is not a thing that's going to help you start a business. It teaches you textbook stuff, um, but it doesn't teach you actually how to the day to day. Like for example, for me, I'm not a textbook business guy, right? I literally learned everything online, right? So if you're looking at MBA as a form of education, you don't to me you don't necessarily need to go to a university, right? Because you can literally do what I did, which is learn online, get coaches and mentors to start a business. The only thing that's a little bit beneficial for here is credentials, because some people want credentials. It's not necessary. I never came across, like, I work with people who do 7-8 figures. They don't care about credentials. And then number two, school does open up a certain demographic of people. School is a certain demographic of people. That it does have its pros and cons in terms of demographics of people. So that's the only reason why I'd be very careful with like picking a university. The right university attracts the right demographic. If you want to start a business, then you got to be very picky in the university that you choose, because it chooses and it attracts certain demographics. That's the one thing. And then get the money into stock market and real estate. So even that, you definitely could, but for me, that wasn't the thing for me, because originally, right, I made my 100K in the stock market. Like if you think about my situation, I saved my money for 5 years, learned to invest, and got to 140K in the stock market. And then I basically gave my parents 100K to buy this house, and then I had 40K invested into business coaching and mentorship. And then in my first year in business in 2021, I did 113K, and in 2022, I did right about 130K, and in this year so far, let me calculate how much I did real quick, rough estimate. I think I'm right about at 94K for the year so far. Just a rough estimate. So like that's purely business. Like I'm just, as a business guy, that's how I'm able to make that kind of money. And the thing is, like, you gotta. It's hard to do everything, David. I would say it's hard to do everything. It's hard to have a successful business and pay attention to the stock market and do real estate successfully all at once. Sometimes you could merge business and real estate. You could merge stock market and business. But to be able to do all things successfully is, I found, to be extremely, 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 extremely difficult. Like for example, like that's why only Warren Buffett focuses on the stock market. You don't see Warren Buffett as a real estate guy. He probably owns companies that owns real estate, like Berkshire Hathaway. You see sometimes like the real estate companies, but like Warren Buffett probably doesn't pay attention to the real estate market too much. He really, I mean, first overall economy purposes, I'm sure he does, but he stays within the stock market lane. Oh, Pan, my man, you. How are you, my friend? I'm good, man. I'm good. Then passive income from residuals, income, and cap growth and long-term growth. Standard model is just income, and pension is not building wealth. I was thinking MBA for certain sectors, i.e. investment banking, sales. Yeah, I think like those degrees does help with potentially getting into um, like the banking side of things. Like for example, like if I was trying to get into banking right now, like be a investment banker at Goldman Sachs or whatever, I probably can't, um, because I don't have the credentials. I don't have the educational background like you might need from a standard university. But if I wanted to like partner up with like a massive like YouTuber, for example, a massive YouTuber will always take me or will consider me more than a traditional college guy, right? So it depends on which demographic, which pathway you kind of want to choose, David. Like, so for example, for me, if I want to hire somebody in my company for let's say $5,000 per month, um, and somebody comes with a college degree, or somebody comes with like a background in the online business space, I'm gonna choose the guy with the online business space background. Like I don't care if he has a degree or not, because I know he has the experience, and the experience is what I'm paying for $5,000. I'm not paying for a paper certificate for somebody who is book smart, but they don't actually know how to apply the stuff. I found that there's bigger learning curves for those type of people. It may be beneficial, but um, corporate position wise, I think it's a little bit harder if you don't have a degree versus if you want to just kind of like start a business on your own. um, Yoon, what's your cost of living? Overhead, you keep it low. As of right now, yes. It when I was in the beginning of the like last year and beginning of this year, my overhead was kind of big because it's when I really hit like making like $10,000 a month consistently, like 10, 11, $12,000 a month. Um, and then I did splurge a lot. Like I would go to a hotel on the weekend, spend a couple $1,000s, enjoy. I went on some trips and bought some Louis Vuitton stuff, spent a couple $1,000s on Banana Republic clothes. So like I had a phase, um, because for like 6 years I lived like dirt, and then I broke through, started making six figures, enjoyed that for a little bit to see what it's like. But now I am out of the military, so I'm in a different season where I have to keep my costs low, because I'm investing all my money into the next thing to be able to hire the right people in my own business and my own team, so I can keep growing my business. So right now, my cost of living. So I have my car, which is like $450. I have my insurance, gas. Um, that's like the only thing personally. Everything else, I'm in the process of like health insurance and stuff. It's going to be done through my business, so like it's kind of like an operational expense. So I would say as of right now, it can't be anywhere any more than $1,500 OPAN, and I pay for like a pretty good gym membership too in my local area. It's like $70 per month type of deal. Um, yeah, so for the most part, I keep it pretty low. Jackson, do you offer one-on-one coaching? Um, I thought about it. The only I'm in the process of thinking about it. My mentor, I'm working with him. I might either do one of two things. Uh, to work with me in a group setting, it's probably like 3 to 5 grand. To work with me one on one, because my clients in my business pay me like $5,000 a month just for like a couple hours of my time. So the only way, like, if I want to do a one-on-one coaching with somebody, the only way it would it would purely be to be able to transfer somebody's life. But the only way it would be worth it for me is probably if I charged like $10,000 or something like that, which not a lot of people are going to do, which is fine by me because I'm not here to just give people my time for free. Even though like you guys are different. Like I'm gonna keep doing this because I enjoy doing this because I enjoy like helping people. But sometimes like when you're trying to do one-on-one help, they're trying to change their life. Um, and I'm going to put in a lot of effort to change their life. It takes a lot of energy. Uh, um, Isham Prism. Would you recommend staying in for 4 years or re-enlisting to finish 8? Shoot, Isham, doesn't matter, man. Like it all depends on what it is that you want. Um, like what is your goal, and does staying in for 8 years align with your goal, or does it take you closer to your goal, or does it take you further away from your goal? um, like it's like, hey, should I walk 4 miles or should I walk 8 miles? Like, I don't know, dude. Like, sure, you can walk 4 or 8 miles, it's good for your health, but like it's going to take that additional time away from what spending time with your family. Or maybe instead of walking 4 miles and then doing another 8, you can just sprint 2 years to do 8 miles, right? Like I don't know what you're trying to accomplish, so you gotta tell me that goal. Oh, Pan, I'm currently in Pennsylvania. Yeah, back in my hometown. So yeah, if you guys have not already, highly recommend connect with me on Instagram, because you guys will literally be able to see how I live my life. I am very transparent with how I live. Like there is no BS behind how I live. Um, One of the things that I do a lot on a daily basis is literally go on like Instagram stories and Facebook stories, and just document, share with people literally how I live. Because I show people how I live, because that is evidence on why I deserve the level of success that I have. And if you want the level of success that I have, you need to emulate a lot of things that I do. Thanks, you. Good thought process, and we'll connect online. All right, David. Got to go. Have a good one. Peace out. What book are you reading now? Right now, I'm into a lot of like Navy SEAL stuff, like David Goggins and Jocko Willink. I found like David Goggins, I like him a lot recently because I'm now getting into the point where I'm gonna take my health serious, where I'm deciding to be very, very fit. Um, David Goggin has a lot of good mentality when it comes to physical fitness. Um, so I think I just read his. I read his. Not just, but I read his. What was it like? Can't Break Me, or I forgot his original book. But I read his original book. I went through his Audible on Never Forget, Never Finished. Yep, Never Finished. Um, and then I finished Jocko Willink's Extreme Ownership. I'm on his Dichotomy of Leadership. I finished his audio book on leadership. I think it's what is it? Can't find it. The next book that I might read or listen to is Shut Up and Listen by Tillman. Get some Tillmanisms. Oh, Leadership Strategy and Tactics by Jocko Willink. That's the other one that I listened to. So yeah, recently I'm into like a lot of Navy SEAL stuff. Probably I'll taper off and transition into like business stuff pretty soon. I currently see around a quarter. I see currently. I see. Okay. Currently, I'm around a quarter in, so 2.5 years. And I just feel like leaving after 4 is mainly driven from being away from family. Uh, and I also see greater things from staying in for 8 years and saving. So appreciate you sharing. Did you stay in for 8 years, Yoon? Did that go by fast in your opinion? So I'll share with you kind of my mindset on this. So I did 8 years, right? Because my initial contract was 5 years. And when you think about my position at the time, it took me 5 years of saving and investing to get to 140K. It's me 5 years in. And I'm a big family guy, right? I gave my parents 100K to buy this house. So I'm a big family guy. I stay with them every single day. Um, my thought process at that time was, can I get a duty station close to home? And while I am at that duty station, how can I make so much money that I no longer have to work for anybody else ever again? And so I'm going to spend this remaining 3 years figuring that out. I was able to get to Maryland, which is close to Pennsylvania, 4 hours away. And within the 3 years, I got into this entrepreneurship space where I started a business, started making multiple six figures. That's the pathway that I took to make the sacrifice of me being away from my family worth it. Because, like, Isham, if somebody told me, like, hey, Yoon, go scrape poop at McDonald's for the next 3 years, but I'll give you $10 million, I'll probably scrape poop for the next 3 years so I can get that $10 million. Even if it means that I'm going to be away from my family, because I am willing to sacrifice that potential time with my family to be able to live the life that I want us to live for the rest of our lives. No different than in entrepreneurship. Right now, I'm putting a lot of time sacrificing and building a business for me to be able to be in the position where I can do crazy stuff with my family. Which is why, right, I chose the online business space. That makes sense to me. I can be online. I don't have to have a corporate job. I can make six figures online while living with my parents. Right? Like, I'm living the dream life of being a 30-year-old that lives with his parents. That's the dream life of everybody, isn't it? So Isham, it did go by fast, but it only goes by fast as long as you are accomplishing your goal. And it's one of those periods where, like, in the treadmill, like, if you're running on the treadmill, if you're not pushing yourself, it's like doing 3 miles per hour on a treadmill, right? You can still get to the destination that you want, but it's a lot slower. What I'm saying is, if you're going to spend 8 years, Isham, like, that's fine, but make sure you hustle your ass off within those 8 years so that you can be in the position where you don't have to leave your family, even if you don't want to. So whatever it is that you want to do within that time is up to you, but that's kind of my thoughts on it. Are you walking on a treadmill while streaming? No, not right now. My treadmill it's right here. You can't see it right here. Um, but yeah, my legs are killing me. Per week, 5 times a week, or 5, 6 times a week. I try to push it for 6. I currently do 5. I run for an hour a day on a treadmill at my local gym with a 20-pound vest, and then I hit 4 miles. So I put in 20 miles per week. I try to do 24 miles, 25 miles, but that's kind of like, yeah, I need to give my legs some rest. Right now I'm standing on my standing desk. Yeah. But yeah, super appreciate you guys hopping in. In a minute here, I'll probably close out. So if you guys have any last minute questions, definitely feel free to pop it in there. I'm going to try to do this almost on every Fridays. We will see. Cool. Any last minute questions? Or we will close it out. Nice. Sorry, you were enlisted because you wanted to go for special operations. Um, no, I was just enlisted because that was kind of the choice that I had, not because of the special operation. You could still be an officer and go special warfare. All right, guys, appreciate you hopping on. Peace.